What is going on, guys? My name is Hunter and this is my 2022 Toyota 3.0 Premium Edition Supra. You have to forgive me, I'm sweating a little bit. It is so hot outside and this is like the third time I've shot this video. Every other time there's something goes wrong, so hopefully this third time's a charm. But I'm going over the the basics of what's done to the car and going from there. So first things first, we'll talk about the exterior. It is on a E1 batch lowering system, or a lowering kit, so it sits about an inch lower. Really looks really good and really sets the car in my opinion, but the negative is it's extremely low. It drops it down to where I have about an inch and a half of if that, of playroom underneath the car. Bought the car with the kit on it, didn't know that it was so low. I had to repave this pavement down here for the lower garage. So I had to redo that after I got the car. Did not think that I would ever have to redo this, but because it was so low, I had to repave it and get it to where I can actually pull it in and out of this garage. So that's the first thing done on it. The second thing is the 2-plate carbon fiber rims. That was an addition from the factory that you could have got. So got those. Then the carbon fiber mirror caps, of course. And then I have the carbon fiber wing. I forgot the name of it, but I will put, if you go to my Instagram, you can see the exact name of it and you can see the links and stuff if you're interested in looking at one of those. The best wing on the market by far. It's a 5-way adjustable, and it's not fake carbon fiber. It's real. It's good. It's the best wing that I've ever seen on a Supra. Like I don't like the everybody sees the basic ones, and this is the best carbon fiber wing that I've seen, and it's made out of actual good carbon fiber material. So that's that. Let's see, the next thing I've got done to it is a titanium catless downpipe, as well as a titanium Tomei exhaust single exit. I'm telling you, that's the way to go. I've seen single, I've seen double, I've heard both. Single is much louder. Even though I think the decibel rating only shows it like 5 or 10 decibels higher, the pops hurt your ears with this versus the dual, which is still very loud, but the single exit, plus the single exit is kind of a tribute back to the Mk4 with the single exit there and how loud and the pops and stuff like that. So definitely do that if I were you. Next thing I've got done to the car is it's got a JV4 tune. Right now it's running on a map 3, so it's a 93 octane, but it's a map. But yeah, that's basically all. Alrighty, so as I said before, this car is quick, right? I didn't know exactly how quick it was, and I still really don't. Off of the parts. So interesting fact is, I bought this car in Georgia, and I'm from South Carolina. I bought this car in Georgia from a dealership, and I didn't know then exactly what was done to it. I just knew it sounded good and it was fast, and I knew it at least had an exhaust and a cold air intake. Like I knew that much because I could see that much. But I didn't know where the car came from or anything like that. I found out actually today. I went down there to get some paperwork, which is a little bit of a drive, like I said earlier, but I went down there to get some paperwork, and I actually got the dealership to call the original owner, and I was going to get the owner's number so I could talk to him about the car, but he said he didn't want to give out his number, and I was like, that's kind of weird. So the dealer picked up the phone and was like, hey, my name is such and such from this dealership. You know, I just sold that Supra that you sold us to a guy, and he wants to know what's done to it. And the guy was like, which Supra? And the original owner was like, which Supra? And then we were like, the one you sold to, and it got specific with it. Apparently he owned 2 or 3 of them. And come to find out, he actually he owns a Corvette. He owns at least 2 or 3, or no, 3 or 4 supercars, Lamborghinis or something, I want to say. But anyways, he's a former. He owns a bunch of supercars. So that kind of eased my mind to know that this car was done right, because you don't own supercars and stuff like that. You know, and Corvettes and stuff like that, like the C8s and stuff. You don't own those kind of cars without doing them right. Like, I was a little nervous that when I got this car, everything looked great, like immaculate. The exhaust work was good. Like everything was done perfectly. And I was just a little nervous though. I was like, why would he turn around and buy this car for? This car is stickered for $73,000 in 2022. Why would he take that, drop all this money into it? I mean, it has a tune. Like I said, I'm gonna have a whole little dispute before this, I'm sure. But the car has got a tune. It's got so much done to it. You know, blow off of it, tune, exhaust. Why would he buy this car, build it, and then sell it? Like I said, I got this car at or just under 8,000 miles, so 7,000 something miles. But why would he drive it for that short? I don't know. He didn't ever say in the video or in the in the phone call, he never said. So I don't really know. But anyways, like I said, the car is done right, which is the most important thing. So I'm excited about that. And the fact that he owned a couple of them makes me, think, maybe he built another one a little faster, and he was like, all right, this is the one I want to roll with. I don't know why you'd own. Me personally, I've never understood why would you own the same car, like two of the same car. They're both. I don't get it. Only I can figure maybe he bought the 22 and then he bought a 23, or he ordered. I don't know, man. I really don't know what happened. But anyways, the car is done right, which is what I'm the most important thing. So. Yeah, so the second thing that I think you absolutely have to get when you're getting this car is an exhaust, okay? Stock, these things do not sound bad, don't get me wrong. They have a little bit of a pop here and there, nothing loud, nothing too crazy. But they sound pretty good for a stock car. All you gotta do is get a downpipe and you get a TI exhaust. They have so many exhausts. At the end of the day, most of the exhausts are going to sound about the same. Now there are big differences in it, but the key thing is the how quiet it is. Stock is not quiet, but it's definitely not loud. Just with a simple downpipe. If you're wanting to go louder, I'd say get the catless downpipe. They make catted and catless. Catless is going to be a lot more have a lot more of that deepness to it, so I suggest that certainly. And then just an exhaust. Like I said, get a little. Like I said, you can get it for like $1,500 in the cheap end, installed maybe $2,000. I would definitely suggest doing that because you're gonna have so much more fun when you get to hear the exhaust notes. Because once this thing can properly breathe, because it's really restricted from the factory. Once it can properly breathe, this thing loves to sing, bro. It screams down the road. So definitely the exhaust is the next thing I'd say. And the third and kind of final thing that I'd say, I'm gonna do a whole video about this, about the top 5 things. I'm gonna give you small, like I said, 3 ones in this thing. The last thing is cold air intake. The number one thing about a car is to let it breathe, right? So you get like I said, you can get cheap ones for like $300 online. I would suggest getting ones that are a little bit more expensive, just because they're a little better. It allows the car to breathe a little better. I forgot what is in this one. In this car, but I know it's about $540, something like that, and you can install them yourself. It's super easy. That's, if anything, I would say that's probably the very first thing you want to do before the radar. You need the car to breathe, and plus you can hear the sucking sound of the engine as well. That allows that turbo to really spool off. So yeah, I would definitely say that's going to be your third thing that you're going to want to do to your car, to your Supra. Okay, so the next thing I want to talk about is the top 3 things that you need to get. As soon as you get this car, you need 3 things, okay? First off, this one is, I don't have it yet. I'm ordering it, hopefully in the next couple of days I'll be ordering it. But you need a radar detector, bro. And you don't need a cheap one, you need the good one. They make a lot of models out there, and I might do a review of them in another video once I get mine come in and I try a couple out. Excuse me. I have a lot of friends who have them. You need one. This car, like I said in a couple clips ago, this car begs attention. You need to get a good radar, just so you can make sure that there aren't cops around. There's a cop in front of me, actually. Now that I say that, there's a cop in front of me on the other side of the road with his lights on, and on this side too. Okay, so they might be doing a stop up here. I don't know. You need that. That's the very first thing that you're gonna want in this car, because it is. Because it is such a magnet, bro. Alright, so the next thing I want to talk about is, okay, for this car, I am from a small town in South Carolina, so this may have some kind of play into it. But the amount, I had a Krypton green Camaro. So I had a 2012 Camaro, and I custom painted it Krypton green, which is what they painted certain Camaros in 2017. Mine was a 2012. And it's a bright green. Google the car. You'll be like, wow, that's insanely bright. Like, it is so bright. I had all kinds of heads turned all the time. It was, all the time. I will say, I've had this car since Saturday. So Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. I've had the car 4 days. I cannot get people to not look at this car. It is. And now, granted, like I said, this car is tuned, so it makes a lot louder noise. It's got the titanium exhaust, it's got the downpipe, It's got a big wing, as you've seen in the beginning roll in the B shots. It's got a huge wing, so it also helps stick out. But the car looks very, very sophisticated and kind of aggressive too at the same time. So, but this car turns more heads. I cannot, like this morning, I stopped to fill up for gas, and I had people recording me, taking pictures and videoing me. I go, like I said, I've had it 4 days. All 4 days, I've had at a minimum of 2 to 3 people ask for pictures of the car or video the car as I'm like driving around, leaving and stuff. It is, the amount of people is crazy, bro. I love it. Don't get me wrong. I like it a lot. But my only thing is it's going to get me in trouble. I just passed the GT500. Sorry, that's random. The GT500 just come this way. You don't really see those in South Carolina where I'm at a lot. It's like a 2023 too. The same color as this car, basically, like a grayish. Anyways, but yeah, no, the car just grabs people's attention, and it's really nice. It gets me in trouble. My second day having this car, there were some kids outside, and they were like freaking out about the car, and they told me they'd like this, rev it. So I revved it, and there was a cop behind me. I was in a parking lot, and I revved it for the kids with my mom in the car. It's my first time driving my mom in the car, and I revved it for the kids, and the kids loved it. And I pulled in the parking spot, and behind me, I had no idea, sat a cop. The cop, I got out of the car and I smiled at the cop. It was Sunday, so I was wearing a suit, and I think that's what got me off the hook, was because he thought, you know, maybe I'm not just some random hooligan kid doing mischievous things, which, even though I may or may not be. But no, yeah, he smiled at me and gave me one of those, and I said, thank you. But like I said, this car gets a heck of attention. Also, again, dude, I have this car 4 days. Last 2 nights ago, I was driving to work, bro. Late at night. It was not late. It was 8 o'clock. And I'm just cruising like this, like I am right now. I have it in, you know, drive mode, not, you know, being crazy. Just cruising on my way to work. I got in a bad zone. The zone, it was the speed limit went from 75 into 55, and I was sitting at 80. And out of nowhere, I had a cop just pull me over, and I was like, oh, dude, I'm done for, a state trooper. And he pulled me over. Thank God, he was the nicest cop I've met in my entire life. Shout out to whoever that guy was, man. He gave me a warning, and I was like, he's like, this is a fast car, I'm sure you just got it. I said, yes, sir, I'm on the way to work, I'm running late, it's my fault, I was speeding, you know. He said, you know what, I appreciate that. And he went to his car, came back, gave me a warning, and let me off. And I was like, wow, that's crazy, bro. That does not happen. Like I said, state troopers are crazy in South Carolina, so very blessed for that one. But anyways, the car just begs for attention, man. I had an 18-wheeler ride me yesterday, got all up on my butt, bro. I thought he was gonna flip me off, because, you know, when you drive a car like this, you get people, there are haters. It's not as bad as I thought, but there are haters. 18-wheeler honked it, got on my butt, and then he pulled over, the lane beside me honked its horn, and I looked at the window because I was like, oh dang, bro, he's probably gonna like yell at me or something. And he pulled out his phone and was like, can I record you? And I was like, oh yeah, for sure. And, you know, I gave him a hit, you know, and he recorded it. But yeah, man, it's the amount of heads this car turns is unlike any other. I've been in some bad cars. I've been in Camaros, I've been in Mustangs, I've been in Challengers, I've been in Chargers. My buddies have 5.0s, my buddies have 392, my brother has a 392. You know, and you don't, this car is so unique. You don't see Supras that often, much less really loud ones with big wings. So it's a really good combination. So yeah, that's kind of what I would probably say for that is, when you get this car, prepare to be under a microscope by not just cops, but everybody's going to be watching you. You're going to get calls, reports saying that you're doing stupid stuff even when you're not. So just be prepared for that. But yeah, like I said, it's a really fun car, and if you're truly a car guy like myself and like my friends and stuff, nothing feels better than when people appreciate your car. I love it when, like, you know, teenagers or like pull up beside me, and you know, they ask me like, what do you do for a living? And like they're like, rev it for me, you know, and stuff. You know, that's like the coolest thing ever. You know, it's not the reason I got the car is because I love the car, but this is a huge thing. Like I said, I love watching people get kind of giggly about it. Like, you know, this car is a lot of fun. And yeah, so just prepare for, for crazy interactions with people if you decide to get this car. Which I'm telling you, if you've never driven a Supra, at the very least test drive one, see if you like it. Like I said, this one's when I bought this one, it was fully modded out. I have not driven a stock Supra, so they may not be fun. But if it's anything like this one, this thing is ungodly fast. It's way too fast. 600 horsepower is nothing to sneeze at. It's not the fastest car. It's not going to outrun everything, but it keeps up with a lot of cars, more cars than I would have thought, because this car is so light and it's so nimble. So yeah, but test drive one, see if you like it. Sit in one. I'll tell you what, dude, sitting in this car, the hardest thing to do was find, I was looking for Supras, the hardest thing to do was find this red interior, or this garnet interior, or whatever you want to call it, burgundy. This is, to me, this sets the car off. It looks so good. The black looks kind of bland to me. There's nothing wrong. It's the same seats and it's the same everything. It's just this is garnet, or whatever you want to call it, burgundy. So anyways, I really like this. So I would definitely say if you can find this, it's so hard to find, get this. At the very least, it's going to be a little different, a little bit more unique, because there's not a lot of stuff you can do to the interior of this car to upgrade it once you get it. It's got a good 8-inch infotainment system, Apple wireless CarPlay. It's got everything you need in the car: backup cameras, sensors, front sensors. You don't need anything once you get in the car. And the interior, there's nothing that I was like, when I got it, I was like, ooh, I need to upgrade this. It's just, the car is really made very well. And a lot of people talk about the plastic. There's some plastics in here and it's kind of cheap feeling. I haven't had that case at all. Every single thing in here is a very solid. Now there are some plastics, right, like for instance right here and on the door sides that are like a gloss black, and those are hard plastic, but they're not cheap plastics at all. There's no, honestly, the only cheap plastic I can think of is in the vents. The vents are a little cheap, but other than that, everything's very hard plastic. And then, like I said, this is the premium edition, so I got the carbon fiber centerpiece here, which you'll see in a minute in the video. Interior wise, yeah, there's nothing that needs to be done once you get this car. Interior wise, you get in it, and I'm satisfied. You're happy. Maybe something that would be cool is having red seat belts, or like the dark red seat belts. I would like that. I wouldn't mind doing that, but I think it's a little expensive, so I don't know if it's really worth it. I mean, it's a seat belt, how noticeable can it be? Plus, it's kind of hard to match this color, with a seat belt, so I don't know, but that's just something, only thing I can think of that I can do. Yeah, so that's the end of that. So getting into a couple of things, all right. First things first, driving this car long distances. Okay, that's what we're going to talk about first. I have driven this car. I got this car 3 days ago, and I have driven it a lot more than I cared to. So I bought the car. I'm from South Carolina. I drove to Georgia and bought the car. Drove back from Georgia, and then I drove for, like I said, since I've been cruising like all around the state of South Carolina, like up through the mountains. I've just been cruising in it, because I'm obviously so in love with this car, and it's so much fun. It's the noises it makes alone. You don't have to be going fast, man. Just the noises that this car makes alone. The turbo blow off is insane. The pops coming out the exhaust are crazy. Taking this thing on distance rides is not an issue, as long as two things. As long as you don't have anybody in this passenger seat, okay? Because there is no storage in this car whatsoever. There's the glove box, and that's it. And then the trunk, obviously. The trunk can hold a lot now. Don't get me wrong, you can fit like 2 suitcases, probably. Maybe 2 smaller suitcases. But other than that, you're not gonna have a whole lot of room for like your own stuff. But as far as drivability goes, like I can, like I said, like I'm right now currently, okay, I am driving back to Georgia, where I got the car. They're installing some more software on the car, and I'm getting back some paperwork that I needed. But I can put it in regular drive mode and sport mode off, and I'm coasting at 80 miles an hour, no loud noises, no pops. Kind of boring, I know, but when you're driving long distances, you don't want to hear that pop, 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 pop all the time. Sometimes you just want to, cruise and enjoy the air. Anyways, I'll say it's not bad. It's better. I had a Camaro before this, and there's a Tesla owner who just cut me off because he thinks he's faster than me. Little does he know, he is. But no. So yeah, it's really drivable. It really is. As for long distances, I would suggest one thing I would tell you is if you're going to go long distances, be prepared to stop a lot. So this thing only holds, I believe, 12 gallons of gas. So I feel like every time I get in the car, 2 bars have dropped on the gas gauge. It's like every time I get in the car, it's and gas mileage is great. So like I said, I said this at the beginning of the video. This car is tuned. It's got an exhaust, a downpipe, a bunch of stuff done to it, a bigger turbo. But I still get 25 miles a gallon, and I drive rather aggressively. Right now it says 25.0, and it's probably going to go up because like I said, I just started this journey to Georgia and back, so it's like an hour-and-a-half drive there, hour-and-a-half drive back. So it's not like terrible, but I'll probably be up to 26, 27, maybe even 28. I don't really know, because I'm driving kind of responsibly, and I'm not going blah 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 blah. I'm driving. So yeah, that's what I'll definitely say is for distances, it's a good car. It really is. It's comfortable. These seats are actually really, really comfortable. They hold you really snug, like on the hips, basically, like just above the hips, like the waist area. They're really tight to that, and you don't get to move around too much, but it's nice. It's not bad at all. I had, like I said, I had a Camaro before this. It was a 2LT, so it had leather seats, and they held you okay, but it didn't really hold you. It was more like a comfort thing. It didn't hold you really well. Whereas these do a little bit of both. And the thing is if you're going 80 in a curve, you're just going to sit in your seat. You're not going to go flying around. It holds you nice and tight. And the only thing I can't complain about is you can't really see it here. But there's a little silver plastic thing right here that I've had people tell me that already, that when they sit there, they feel like if they're like on a longer drive with me, they feel like they want to lay their head back. But you can see it better here. They don't. The little plastic thing kind of gets in the way if you're shorter. If you have a shorter, like a lot of times, like girls will have issues with this. Their head sits a little bit lower in the seat, so there's like that plastic kind of messes with them. It's not bad or anything. Like I said, I've had no issue with it. My head sits pretty high. I'm not tall by any means. I'm 5'10", 5'9". So it's like not bad for me at all. Getting in and out of the car is super easy. I've had people say that there's a lot of videos that are like, oh, I'm 6 foot, or I'm 5'11", or I'm 5'8", 5'9", and I have a hard time getting in and out. I've not had a hard time at all. But then again, you gotta remember, I come from a Camaro. Same thing, they say the blind spot in this thing right here is really bad. I come from a Camaro. I know that blind spot. That's the same blind spot as in the Camaro. And this one is worse, I'm not gonna lie. But you have the sensors that tell you when people are coming up beside you, and you have the cameras. You're really, it's nowhere near as bad as a lot of people put it out to be. That's that for, that's kind of all I got about the distance drive. It's a super comfortable car. Yeah, let's get in the next segment.
The level you playing gets into the devil. These bitches been on me, I swear they keep calling my phone. I'm like, hold on, let me check the scale. If she get time of day, then I had a good